G'day everyone, I am the man called Cam Asabi, the man with the plane from the land down under, and this is my review of Destiny Mountain Demon by Lonnie Webb and Sergio Sotomayor. This book is currently funding on the Indiegogo platform. It appears that the creator has come under attack for associating with Comicsgate creators and customers, thereby acting as a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. I was provided with an advanced digital copy of the book for review purposes. Because of the type of story Destiny Mountain Demon is, I'll have to handle this review a little differently. I don't want to give away the ending after all. Destiny Mountain Demon is, essentially, an extended short from the tales of the Crypt Keeper or Vault of Horror days. It's a horror story, the unreal alongside the real, murder, terror and mystery, the supernatural meeting the mundane. It's a one-shot, the retelling of an amazing, horrible sequence of events, with similar energy to Stephen King's short stories, that rural American Gothic feel, set in days past when technology hadn't drowned out American superstition and fear of the unknown. Shorts like 1922, or longer works like The Green Mile and Dolores Claiborne. There is something frightening, deeply, subtly scary about turn-of-the-century rural America. Like it's described in the book, self-contained farms, tiny kingdoms, little fiefdoms, ignorant of the rest of the world. That isolation, that remoteness, the loneliness is an element conveyed in this story. The story starts with a reporter travelling to a farm in more modern times. The owner of the farm promises he has a story for the reporter. The farmer tells the time his family was killed by a serial killer that terrorized rural America after the war, a man called Rip Moore, known as the dinner-time killer for his tendency to kill folks as they were sitting down to dinner and then posing their bodies in macabre scenes. The killer came to the house of the farmer and killed his parents before chasing the farmer and his brother and his boys across their property and into the woods. It's the into the woods part where the demon from Destiny Mountain Demon comes into play. It's a classic hunter becomes the hunter type scenario, with similar themes of retribution, punishment and damnation utilised frequently by EC Comics titles like Vault of Horror and Tales of the Crypt Keeper. In so many ways, this book mimics those titles so perfectly. The pacing, the dialogue, the way the characters sort of narrate what they are thinking, it's classic writing. If you're a fan of those old books like I was, you will find so much here that is familiar, comfortable and enjoyable. Aside from Carl Stevens' Mary Boys, I've rarely seen a crowdfunded book published in black and white that benefited from that choice. The art on the old EC Comics was usually of a very high standard for the time. Big names like Wally Wood worked on those books. Where Destiny Mountain Demon falls away from its spiritual ancestor titles is the art. The art in this book isn't ready for prime time. There are some rather competent panels and layouts, but overall it's flat, with minimal backgrounds on interior scenes and basic head and face composition being a particular weak point. Maybe a separate inker could have pulled the basics of the pages together, or a good colorist could have injected some additional life and energy into the pages, but on its own, straight black and white, this art looks amateurish and unfinished. Art is probably the biggest gateway and obstacle for crowdfunded comic book creators. If you can't do the art yourself and you can't pay someone what they are worth to produce quality art for you, your books will suffer. It's a shame, but it's how it is and it's probably not going to change. For small creators, ones without the money to lure top-tier talent, the crowdfunding game is a marathon, not a sprint. These creators will need to have thick skins, shoulder criticism and move forward under that weight if they want to succeed. Something that I think would have helped the art, particularly on the cover, is if the book had been coloured flat using the classic colour palette of the era. This book is so geared towards that classic EC Comics formula, knowingly or not. It seems a shame they didn't lean fully into it, to ape that era more closely in all aspects and cash in on the love people still have for that genre. The titular character, the Destiny Mountain Demon, is an unusual figure, maybe as much a villain as hero. I'm not sure if the writer intends to move forward with this character, building a franchise, or if this is a one-and-done story. It ends appropriately enough, with a kind of open cliffhanger or portent that things might change or escalate. The best horror usually does. If I had $1 for every time Stephen King used the hanging ending, I'd be able to afford a lot of Happy Meals. I could see the Destiny Mountain Demon operating kind of like Vampirella, considered evil because of his very existence, but making his own choices as he travels the nation, seen as a villain in a Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno Hulk kind of way. There's potential here, but nailing down the Destiny Mountain Demon lore and identity might take away from his mystery. The more we know things, the less we fear them. I could even see the character being used as a kind of American Gothic, rural Doc Strange or Constantine, roaming America, punishing those he deems guilty. Whatever the direction, it would benefit the team to lean into that EC Comics aesthetic as hard as they can. Consider colour, and maybe look for an inker to help embellish the art. Destiny Mountain Demon is the awkward first step of a new crowd-funded creator. Steps many of us are going through or planning to go through. When we dedicate so much time and money towards the creation of a book, we need to make sure we are presenting something that resonates, something that has rereadability. The Destiny Mountain Demon might serve better as a Crypt Keeper type figure introducing stories of horror or fear in an anthology or short story collection. There is a dearth of horror comics in that classic vein. So many horror comics replicate slasher type movies and lack the subtext classic horror had. Horror has a unique ability to cause us to reflect on issues, couched by gore, violence and fear. The shocking nature of the content jolts us awake, and we have to re-examine our beliefs in light of new information or perspectives. While this book didn't challenge me, it was confronting, the killings and how mundane and real it all seemed. By sharing so much DNA with EC Comics stories, I feel the creative team here has a real opportunity to reintroduce a new generation to real horror, to real, lasting fear. That brings us to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope you join me on the next one. Take care.